So it has been a while since you've heard from me, and this episode is going to be a brief explanation of where I've been, what's been going on, and what the future holds for this project. Before I do that, I would first and foremost like to thank our anonymous donor who bought me several coffees all the way back in late September, early October. It's been a while. Thank you very much for that. And with that in mind, what happened autumn and winter? Well, I did not intend to stop recording. I, in fact, had several more episodes planned out. I had a whole editorial calendar, and what it boiled down to was a mix of getting busy and realizing that I don't love podcasting. I love podcasts. I consume so many podcasts. And yet, when it boils down to it, at the end of the day, when I am working a job and starting a business and writing and doing editorial projects, something's got to give. And I like podcasting. I have learned so much from it. I'm so glad I decided to give it a shot. I'm super proud of the opportunities it has afforded me. And it's not my favorite thing to do. So as I was getting busy this winter, that fell by the wayside. So in addition to working a full-time office job, I was finally in the end stages of getting my Pilates business, my home studio, off the ground, dealing with, honestly, mostly city bureaucracy, which really ate up way more energy than I feel like it should have. But here we are. I got through it. I had my grand open house on January 6th. It was an absolutely lovely afternoon. I also took over editorship of our quarterly neighborhood newspaper, and while that's not a huge demand on my time and energy, it is a new project, and I was learning the ropes of that this fall, and also continuing to serve as newsletter editor for Haiku Society of America, and doing my best now that I've gotten my footing and now that we've sort of kept things going in the wake of Ignatius's death, trying to actually innovate, move things in a new direction, put my own spin on them. Is that all I'm doing? Well, I started a tea sommelier course in January as well. I don't intend to have a tea business or be a tea sommelier, but I have been in love with tea since 2006, and I'm at the point where I just want to learn as much about it as I possibly can. So that's where I'm at with everything, plus, being a partner, having a social life. I live in a neighborhood where it is very easy to have a social life, and I have just the best neighbors in the world. And I want to make time for my own writing, which honestly is not a thing I have not been doing. And I want to move on to the next phase of the Culinary Saijiki. This was never meant to be a blog and a podcast as the main focus. Those are things I started doing. But what I really wanted was to make a book. And if I'm trying to put out blog content and put out podcast content, that makes it harder for me to actually do a cohesive book project. And my goal for 2024 is to end the year with a draft of a manuscript. I wasn't really making time for that when I was trying to create this blog and podcast content. And honestly, the weight of this unfinished, sort of unresolved podcast hanging over my head, I think was preventing me from moving forward, because I haven't really missed working on the podcast, and I've loved what I've created. I loved the conversation I had with Patricia, which was unintentionally the last episode I put out. That was a fantastic morning. I had such a great time. And also hosting a podcast is not the only way I get to talk to people. I have plenty of other opportunity for that. But I was feeling some residual guilt over, I haven't updated. I need to give some closure. Even if I'm ready to move on, I need to put something out. And I really got something out of it. And it's always hard for me to leave things behind. Like, honestly, always. Even when something just isn't working for me or I'm no longer interested in it, if I've gotten anything out of it at all, it's really hard for me to give it up. But so then there was just that weight hanging over my head of that unfinished business. So I think by recording this and formally putting something out there, and saying this phase of the project is done, I can start moving forward. And this phase of the project was important because in doing the blog posts and in having these conversations on the podcast, I was able to clarify for myself my editorial stance with this project and the sort of driving aesthetic thrust of this project. I have clarified so much of my vision for this project by putting out regular real-time content. And now it is time to take what I have learned from that and put the book together. And if I want to get the book done by the end of the year, that means I have to psychologically, for myself, close this phase of the project. Thank you again for your support. I will continue to occasionally update the Buy Me a Coffee with developments. If you follow the blog, check there for updates. I will post updates there. I will also post updates about how the book project is going there. I just won't be doing a podcast anymore. So I will keep you updated because I really want to do this book. I have always wanted this to be a book project from the very, very beginning. And that's what I'm going to do. That's the whole point of winding this down. So at this point, I feel like I'm starting to ramble, but there's, again, not much to be said. I got busy. I realized that this particular creative process wasn't my thing, and I want to move on to Culinary Saijiki phase 2, which is going to be an actual physical book. And I want to have that by the end of the year. And I'm putting that out there. I'm putting out a deadline for myself. So you will all know it. You can hold me accountable. With that, thank you for listening. For those of you who were willing to come on the show, thank you so much for being willing to come on the show. For all of you who bought me a tea on the Buy Me a Coffee page, thank you so much. Your support really does mean a lot. And stick around for phase 2. I'm excited to see where this goes, and I hope you are too.